broadcast, this big breaking news coming in. Times now speaks to Sushant's friend Samuel Haokip, who has debunked the depression theory linked to late actor Sushant Singh Rajput's suicide. He maintains that Sushant was full of life and he was not depressed. He in fact also added that Sushant's suicide seems unbelievable.
Samuel, first and foremost, my condolences. He was your friend. You've lost a dear friend. But at this particular point, as the entire country is asking for a lot of answers as to what exactly happened, so we'll just like to ask from you the same questions. What was Sushant like? There's a lot of controversy surrounding him, whether he was in fact in depression, he was taking certain medications. What can you tell us about Sushant as a person? And when was the last time that you spoke to him?
Hi. So first of all, I stopped working with him in July, somewhere around June-July 2019. So I'm not really aware what really went wrong or what really happened after that. However, till the time I was there was never such a point where I could say that he was kind of depressed, because we used to have a really good time together. We had a small team and we used to do pretty much everything together, swim together, play, sing, and go for the shoots together, read together. There was never really a point where I could just pinpoint and say that he was a depressed person, because he was very lively and he was always trying to be in the present moment, which he taught every one of us. So from my experience, I never came across such a thing. But at the same time, yeah, you do get a little sad sometimes, you do get a little upset sometimes with things around you, but that doesn't mean you're depressed. So I'm not really aware what happened after I left. But yeah, so I spoke to a couple of them and they told me a few things about there was some kind of medication and few doctors involved. Again, it's a hearsay for me, which I cannot really comment on, because I'm not really aware of the hard facts. So as far as I'm concerned, with my experience with Sushant, till the time I was there was no such thing.
From what we've heard from his friends, from his colleagues, people like you who've worked with him as well and who were friends with him as well, they've all said one thing, that Sushant was a rather cheerful guy. He would bring that light into the room whenever he stepped in, and something that they can't seem to believe is the fact that he was under depression. We've also spoken to Ankita, his former girlfriend, as well, and she seems to also reiterate the same thing, that under no circumstances can a person like Sushant can actually be taking so many medications, or for that matter commit suicide. So what did you hear? Did you hear from Sushant himself post the time when you weren't with him? Did you speak to him? Did he say something like that? Did he mention ever taking such medications?
No, I never had any communication with Sushant after I left somewhere around June-July 2019. Yeah. However, after his demise, I tried speaking to a lot of people just to get to know, because even I'm curious and I want to know what really went wrong. So few of those staff, they called me, and one of them was the bodyguard Sahil, and he told me few things about certain medications, and he used to go to pharmacy to buy certain prescribed medicines. And I also didn't really get into it because I wasn't really there. So it's and since this conversation happened after his demise, so I didn't really see a point. So I didn't really ask much about it. But yeah, I heard from few of the staff that there were certain medications that were going on with Sushant. So that's all I know. I'm not really sure about it.
Another point that is being raised is the fact that Samuel, there were certain discrepancies financially as well when it came to his bank transactions. What kind of a person was he when it came financially? Was he into living life lavishly? Was money always flowing in, or for that matter he was a conservative type, always trying to save or something? Because the kind of transactions which have come to the fore, of course, after what the Bihar police has obviously come out with, so it clearly showcases something very different as to what his friends have been saying and what has now finally come out. So what exactly can you tell us about that?
He was pretty balanced when it comes to the financial decision making. He was not completely a conservative, and he was not completely living a lavish. But at the same time, he would try to balance it out where it's required, where he would feel that it's really required for certain kind of development for himself or for the team. He would just go ahead and not think twice. But at the same time, when I was there, we would try to minimize the kind of expenditure we used to have, and yeah, it was a very well balanced. So I wouldn't go so far to say it was a lavish because yes, the house and certain things look lavish, but then those were part of the requirement. And if you have a team of with 5 to 6 people, with everyone comes from a different background and they have a different skill set, then you do need to have a house come office kind of space, which was there. But then at the same time, there was no such lavish spending as such. Yeah.
Some things that have come to fore is also the fact that how his girlfriend had in fact taken over. Ria had in fact taken over him on his financially. She was the one making transactions, and there are multiple discrepancies that way also. So is this something that you also saw while you were with him?
First of all, you have to understand this thing that Sushant always used to be with a team. Sushant had its own team, and the team used to live with him. The team used to stay with him. So if any guest comes, be it his friend or his girlfriend or whosoever, the team is going to take care of the entire expenditure or the entire event. So if that's the case, then I would say Sushant used to, or most of the time he would prefer that Sushant is paying for everyone. But like when I was there, when I was about to leave, I had just met Ria, and it was just like few months, so I didn't really get to know her that well. But at the same time, I would say that most of the time the bank statements which you're talking about, most of the time, if Sushant is traveling with the team and if he's traveling with Ria, it's very obvious that Sushant is not gonna ask to split a certain kind of bill. He would be generous enough to pay for everyone. So that's how it was. So I don't know how to really tell you like what exactly went wrong. I mean, I'm not really sure, because till time I was there, everything was pretty balanced and normal.
Another point, that has come to fore is the fact that some allegations have been made that Ria did not allow Sushant to speak to his family. His friends were completely isolated. His staff was changed. So what exactly happened there? Did you speak to some of these former colleagues of his, former helps, perhaps former bodyguards? What exactly have they told you?
They haven't really told me anything, because these guys, they don't have access to Sushant's private life. Because when I was in Capri Heights, it was a duplex, and 16th floor was completely reserved for Sushant and his friends. So people who were supporting, who were in the staff, such as the cook or the helper or the bodyguard, the drivers, these guys did not have any access whatsoever into the private life of Sushant. So even if they know, even if they're speaking, it's a hearsay for me. So but at the same time, I did not like really speak about these things to anyone. Yeah.
There are certain allegations that are coming forward that on the eve of when he died of suicide, alleged suicide, that is, it is being said that he was in a party, and there was some confrontation that happened between him and Ria. So have you also managed to speak to somebody on those lines as to what exactly happened? Because as a friend, you would obviously want some closure as well as to what exactly happened to Sushant. So just asking a question because of that.
Yes, I tried my own research. I tried calling a lot of people who could have possibly known what happened. But whoever I spoke to said the same thing, that there was no such party the night before. In contrast to what I've been hearing on the mainstream media, that there was some sort of party the night before. But yeah, as far as my conversation with the staff and other people is concerned, all of them told me the same thing, which is that there was no party as such the night before.
The family is also making certain allegations. They're saying that, Riya ensured that, Sushant did not speak to the family itself for almost 1 year or so. His friends, they say, were completely isolated from him, and, he did not get to meet him or speak to them. So, what was your relation, your understanding of Riya? Because, you knew her for almost some months before you went ahead and started with something other than being with Sushant. So what exactly could you understand from Riya's, the basic interaction that you had with her?
Well, I wouldn't really like to comment on that, because it's a very personal matter, and we are trying to dwell into people's friendship and things like that. So I mean, as I said, like when I was about to leave, Riya had just started chilling with us, and yeah, she was nice to me, and I mean, so far, like, she was nice to everyone till the time I was there. But then again, I can't really comment on it, because I don't know her that well, and I didn't really spend so much time with her. So yeah, I mean, if you're talking about just Riya, I don't think I should be the perfect person to comment on that.
My final question is on Sushant Singh Rajput. His demise has obviously had an impact on all of us. The entire country wants to really understand as to what exactly transpired, what happened to him. He was a star. He was a budding star. Somebody people were really looking up to. From where he came along, and not just him being a successful actor, but otherwise as well. He was very good in his education as well. What was your first reaction when you heard the news of his demise? Because from what we've heard, his friends just could not believe that he could have ever died of suicide.
I didn't believe it. I started getting calls, I started getting Instagram messages, I started getting WhatsApp messages, and people were calling me from everywhere. Like, I got a call from Paris, and people were calling me, and they were just asking me, did you hear about this news? And I was completely unaware. I was just doing my own thing, and then I started doing research online, and I saw, and I didn't believe it for like an hour or so. And then I called the staff, I called other people who could have possibly had some kind of idea into what must have happened with him. So I called them up, and they gave me the same story, which is everywhere on internet, in the media. So that's when I realized that something has happened, and I was really shocked. And it's still not easy for me to come to terms with this whole incident, because whatsoever time I spent with Sushant and along with the other team members, he didn't really look like a person who would do such a thing. But at the same time, I don't know what's happening anymore. Everyone's coming up with their own theories. So I just hope that investigation is done fairly, and we get to know what's really happened.